we're live? All right. I'd like to call the Water and Sewer Commission to order for May the 8th. First order of business is call to order and the roll call.
So, Mayor Hobbs,
Here.
Chairman Mike Anderson,
Here.
Vice Chairman Nelson Watson,
Here.
Secretary Gary Hunt,
Here.
Commissioner Terrence Hillsman,
Here.
Alderman Julie Anderson,
Here.
Director Jeff Perry, here, Assistant Director Lonnie Foley,
Here.
and Billing Office Manager Jennifer Hall is absent.
All right, I believe we have a quorum. First order of business is to approve the agenda you received. Chair will entertain a motion to
Make a motion.
Got a motion and a second?
A second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Citizens' comments. I know we got 3 or 4 comments. Please announce who you are.
As most of you know me, I'm Judy Pugh, and I have been representing the property owners along J.E. Sartain Road. And I have 4 property owners with me today that may or may not make comments or ask some questions. I have Hunter West, an adjuster, insurance adjuster, and he has expressed interest in moving to J.E. Sartain Road if we had an adequate water supply. And I have Nancy Bush, who is Assistant Vice Principal of Digital Banking with Ascend Credit Union, and her husband Kent Bush, who is owner-operator of Gotta Go Transport. And they are both, and of course, Olivia, my granddaughter. They are residents on J.E. Sartain Road. And then I have Marshall Harris, who is owner, a licensed contractor and owner and operator of Harris Excavation and Demolition. And Mr. Harris has expressed interest in building a church youth retreat on that road. Now, we were told in February that we would have city water by the summer. And then we received news in April. Now, keep in mind that this road is only 1 mile and 7/10 in its entirety near Normandy Lake. We were told that we would not be getting water because it would cost $600,000 to take water down that road. So on that note, I contacted Pro Plumbing and asked a technician to come out and see if a holding tank could be placed and a filtration system. And his response was, I doubt that there's any other situation in Coffee County like this, and I'm sorry I cannot help you. So with all of that being said, I have 2 questions. One is exactly what is the status of city water coming down J.E. Sartain Road? And number 2, is it your protocol that to ask recipients to pay for the water line installation in addition to paying for the water taps?
So, I was asked to get a cost estimate together from an engineering firm, because from what I was told, that Coffee County and the citizens would pitch in and pay for that. I think it was 1.7 to 1.8 miles total. In order to run water services, therefore, you have to have an engineering report. The report was sent in to the Coffee County mayor, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the extent, to my knowledge of it.
I know Mr. Hobbs and I had discussed at one time that maybe the water did not need to go the entire length of the road, and at that time, it would have been like 9/10.
Yes, ma'am.
And
So,
the 8/10 would not have been covered. But, you know, that seems like an awfully extravagant amount to me. And, you know, can you break that down into,
So if I remember correctly, right, we were getting the county to pay for the materials, and we would do the labor. And I
they
think
said
that-
they would pay for the pipes, was what I was told.
And I think that's
And the
where,
information that I got that we would not be getting city water came from Tim Morris.
so that's the county, I mean, and we've been waiting on them to either approve the materials. That's kind of where it's been left. I mean, we give an overall worst-case scenario in cost to run the 1 point something miles to service new residents and others, and we give it to them, and we're waiting on them to tell us, yes, they'll pay for their half of the materials, and then we can talk about us doing the work. I mean, that's where I think we've left it, is with the county.
Who said it would cost $600,000?
so it's Walford Engineering.
To run
did the cost
a
estimate.
mile,
I
less
mean,
than 2
that
miles?
just sounds astronomical to me.
I think there's about $400,000 in material was the estimate. That's putting in some fire hydrants as well, since you're running the water. You know,
That
until you
thing,
actually
that
build the
thing's
project out,
way too high.
Oh,
I mean, nobody wants to spend the money for the engineering. I mean, if you would do that, we can give you a very detailed, accurate thing. I mean, we just took a swing at the footage we have to go through.
In my mind, that's on the county.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we give the county what was asked of us, right? Asked us to get a basic estimate of what it's gonna cost to run it. And that's what we did. And they have to, Tim Morris and his group.
Can I say something?
okay, I think,
Absolutely.
excuse me.
I was gonna dig water lines.
Would you please identify yourself?
Marshall Harris.
Okay.
I was gonna dig the water line myself, all the way out. And they come back and said, you can't do that.
Because what happens is we actually end up owning everything that you put in the ground. And according to engineering and stuff, we have to be able to, the ones to do the work or contract the work to do it.
Well, if he's a licensed contractor,
There's people living back there out of the creek. Her daughter, her granddaughter is 12 years old, and they don't even have enough water to take a bath with. And Mr. Daniels back there, he don't have enough water to flush a commode. I mean,
Listen, I get your frustration, but I think you have to start at the county.
well, it don't.
They're the ones that offered up to pay for the materials. And until we get to the bottom of that, we can't tell you whether we're interested in doing the project or not, right?
Let me tell you, sir. Me and my family, we pay taxes here.
Yes, sir.
I shop at Lovelady Auto Parts. I buy thousands of dollars worth of diesel here every year.
Yes, sir.
And we try to support Manchester,
Yes, sir.
you know, and I'm gonna quit doing that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We're not saying we're not gonna support the project. We're just waiting on the county to answer, are they gonna buy the
We need to get
material?
on to them.
Oh, Mr. Hobbs, could I say, I think Tim Morris was really adamant about having 6-inch pipes and fire hydrants. We don't have to have 6-inch
Well,
pipes. We don't have to have fire hydrants. I don't even have fire hydrants on my road, none, and I have 4-inch.
That's not up to the city, it's up to the county.
County.
And
That's
what
what I'm
they
trying to
say.
say, ma'am,
Okay.
is, listen, we've done what the county asked us to do, and listen, we're waiting. I mean, if they want to engineer it with those size pipes and stuff, we're just following the lead that we're given.
Okay, so there wouldn't, in other words, there would not be a problem if they put 4-inch pipes
So,
in?
one thing, if they want to get their own engineering report, and, I mean, they can totally do that. We were just asked to provide the engineering report, and we did that and passed it along, and
Okay, see, these are things that we needed to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
didn't
and,
know.
and that's been the deal as long as I've known, right? I mean, we've been saying that we would provide labor, I think is what we said as a city, right? And that answers your question about paying for what it's gonna cost, right? I mean, we'll get our monies back through the taps and all that. So the way it was laid out to me was, is we would do the labor, county would buy the materials, and we would put it in the ground.
Well, we've done that before.
We've done
Yeah,
that.
in County. That's-
Same deal we've
that's
done every
nothing
time.
new.
This is nothing new that we're offering. I mean, it's.
I think we'd love to have them as customers.
Absolutely.
We definitely are.
Yes, because I have 9 people that have committed.
Yes, ma'am.
And there may be even more to TAPS.
But
Sure.
And there again, I mean, if you can work with Tim Morris through the county, right? I mean, we can't afford to spend $400,000 in material to put in new water service out there. It'd take us forever to recoup that money, okay? I'm just
Now,
saying
is
that.
that for 6-inch pipes and fire
That
hydrants?
would be what they spec to us, and that's what we got a quote on.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So my name is Nancy Bush. I'm one of the residents on the road. So my question is, I'm hearing that Coffee County needs to be involved, Manchester City needs to be involved. You've submitted information to the county. Now we're getting differing information from the county when he contacts my mother-in-law to say it's $600,000, we won't be able to do it. How can we get everyone together to talk about this all at the same time so that we can actually have a decision made? How does that work?
I mean, I'll be glad to attend the county meeting. I can speak for the city side, so you just let us know when it's on the agenda, and I'll be proud to be there, right?
So
I
we
mean,
just need to push to have that as a
Absolutely.
point of order to be discussed, make sure that you're informed so that everyone can be there in the same area.
I'll be glad to come myself.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff and I will definitely come. It's never been,
It's a
we
county
didn't want to do it or not do
County
it.
says,
We've been
"Go
waiting
for
for the
it."
county. This has been back, I can remember back when Judd and all them were in office, right? That was the kind of the agreement the county would do. I mean, and we've done many of projects with them.
Every project we've ever done in the county, that's how it's
Yeah,
worked.
I mean, we just, as a city, can't go out in the county and start laying pipe and stuff. I mean, but we're more than happy to do the labor side of it to get everybody what they need. That's never been the
No.
concern on our side.
Okay, so we need to coordinate that and make sure
Yeah.
that everyone's informed and can get to the same meeting.
Yes, ma'am. And I think that part of the overall number is, you know, like you said, I mean, if they're gonna ease up on some specs that they want and other things, then it definitely is gonna reduce the number.
And also, if all the customers live on one side of the road, if, I think I heard a church might be being built, if it's all on one side or all in one particular area to where it doesn't have to be connected, I mean, that's a option. I mean, preferably you would want the system looped. I mean,
Right.
but, you know, if there's no water out there, not enough groundwater to suffice, I mean, anything would help, so, I mean.
they need to put in which they'd engineer, put in a plug at the end of it to
Yes.
do cannon flushing like we
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, it'd have to have something at the end of the line to flush it. But, you know, I don't know where all the houses are or what future developments are coming, you know, being that it's the entirety of the road, that there's ways of cutting the cost down if need be. And is that 2 different pressure zones in between there? I thought so. So, I mean, even something like that would have to be looked at.
And
Y'all
then-
get an engineer to prove that, and I'll dig it.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
I'm
say, I mean,
leaving,
can we,
I can't handle this.
can we have it written in where his services could be utilized? And that would, I'm sure, reduce the cost as well, if he were to offer his services.
I mean, we've already said that we'll dig it for free. I don't understand how that's gonna reduce the overall cost. I mean, we agreed to do the labor part, right?
If they'll pay for the material and the,
So-
but they need to pay for the engineering study and the
Yeah,
material.
yeah. I mean,
We'll put it in.
So the digging part's not the issue. We've already said we'll do that for you, okay? It's just the material and the engineering part that the county needs to pay for, or you guys partner together to get it done. So from the city side, we're just kind of in a holding pattern, okay?
My name is Kent Bush, and I've got one question on the, I guess, the pushing it off toward the homeowners. I mean, is that something that normally happens, or? I mean, I
Well, it's
know
not
they
pushing
buy the
it, it's
tap.
not pushing it off on the homeowners, you would be paying for your tap.
Tap
Okay,
fees.
how
And
much
that's
does that
how-
usually run? Bill?
I mean, it depends on the size of the tap, 3/4 inch tap, right now,
It's going up.
it's going up, so outside city limits is $2,250.
That's what I was
Not the 600 though, that's what we
Sir?
were, it's not the 600 that we
No,
were
sir,
told
it's
that we
not.
were gonna have to,
No, sir.
you know.
And that's not counting if the road has to be bored. So, I mean, I don't know who quoted you $600,
Well,
but,
and it was pushed off to the homeowners, that's what we were, you know.
the
The way
homeowner
they
always
get
has to pay the tap, that's how we
Understand
recoup
that.
the money.
He's talking about
Not the
part of the
installation.
construction.
Wait a minute, he's talking.
So just the tap is all we're required to pay, just, okay.
Or a bore fee if you have to go under the
I
road.
understand that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're at, just getting the county, on board with all this as well?
Yeah, and I would think that it would behoove the county, right, to just do the engineering, to agree to pay that fee for the engineering, and then we can build a project from there, right? Other than that, it's just some basic information on what size pipe they want us to get a quote on, and that's what we've kind of done.
And I think, to be honest, I mean, the engineering report I got, it was more or less a freebie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just out of, it wasn't something that somebody had to pay for.
Yeah.
So, again, that was a favor from us.
Just to kind of get us a rough idea, right? I mean, we use engineering firms and stuff that we have in the city, and they didn't charge us for what you got, which isn't very detailed, right?
Was it St. John Engineering?
And that was Walford Engineering.
Because I was told at one time that if we got city water, we had to use St. John Engineering.
St. John is the city engineering firm that we use, I mean, and we just did it.
But that wasn't from St. John.
No, it's just another firm that we use, right? I mean, and there again, the detailed report, you probably would want to come from St. John, but they're gonna charge you for it. I mean, Adam, there's fees involved to get that report, right? I mean, so the county would,
We paid for that at one time, we had money for that.
Yeah, I had money at one time to pay for all of the, the engineering fees. And then, now I'm talking about before your turn.
yes, ma'am.
The checks expired. And this gentleman right here donated $500, a cashier's check, and I had to take all these checks back to the people.
But I mean,
Okay.
and like I said, Jeff and I are more than willing to come to a meeting with the county so that everybody can hear what everybody's willing to do. But like I said, from the city, and I think this board, right, we're willing to do what we've done many times before, and that's put the labor part in it at our cost, buy the taps, and the county has always supplied the material.
I have a question for the board, mayor, and Jeff, if any of y'all know. We've done this several times in the past. Have we ever had a distance to go that was requiring an engineering
I
study?
believe it's over a mile.
Yeah.
The
this-
state requirement.
I think so.
Is this the first one maybe we've had in a pretty good while that was that long?
It's the first one in my time.
And
We hadn't-
right before I came into politics, right, the county had bought $500,000 worth of pipe that we were storing over at our facility. You guys probably remember that, and we were putting in lines and stuff based on the needs and their direction, and I don't know if there was an engineering study for that or not, but they had just committed $500,000 to pipe, and we did run lines where we were asked. But I don't know about that before.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because-
I don't remember one requirement. That may be why this has maybe been a little more difficult to get through. But I know this board has voted in the past to approve this project, I think more than once. So
So at least twice.
we're all,
possibly
we're
three.
all for
We
it.
put some out Oak Hill Road, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We
Remember how far-
appreciate
I don't
that.
either.
There were several projects
Yeah,
that
we've
they
gone-
did with that,
Yep.
with the material.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
were promised 5+ years ago that we was gonna get this water.
Yeah, we've been
So it's
working
been
on
going
this
on
over
and on
5
and on.
years.
That's too long.
That's a long time.
That's too long.
It's all the way around us, all the way around us.
Well, let's hope we can move this along.
Like I said,
I think we all want
please
to.
call and let us know when the meeting is, and Jeff and I will attend, and we'll say the same thing we just said to you guys, that we're gonna tell them, right? We're ready to do the work, we just can't supply the material both.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Okay. Review of previous minutes. I think everybody got a copy of the minutes in their package. Chair will entertain a motion to approve April's minutes.
I make a motion that we approve April's minutes as is.
There's a second. Any discussion, corrections, or additions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right. Mayor?
I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but we did at the last BOMA meeting approve us facilitating some grants for a new water tower at the Manchester Industrial Park. We have pretty close to, I think, commitments of $3 million, $3.1 million to put up a new 500,000 gallon tank, which will help us with our storage percentages and those things. And the cost to BOMA will be roughly $350-ish. So we did approve it at BOMA level to spend $350,000 to get the $3.5 million water tank. So that was a pretty good win. We also, I told you guys a few months back that there's ARPA money that's being turned loose for people who didn't want it. We have an opportunity to, and don't quote me on the total, we're working through some stuff right now, but maybe an extra $500,000 in ARPA money that we can use past projects to turn in, and the money will actually just be for new projects. It won't be tied to anything. So that's going pretty good. Give everybody a copy of the proposed budget for 25-26. Jeff and Anthony worked pretty hard on it. We did a few tweaking today, and we'll talk about that, but apologize that we haven't got this to you before today to look at, but we do have budget and finance tonight at 5, so I'm going to ask you to at least look through it, talk about what you like or don't like, so if there's any modifications I need to make, I can present the first round of a budget to budget and finance tonight at 5. Anything else, Jeff, that I need to, the rest of it's probably into your stuff, I would think. But yeah, that's all I have right now.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Director's report.
Yes, sir. So in the month of April, water distribution, you can go through and see, I think we made 3 taps, 3 new water taps. We had 2 busted water mains. We did a lot of, quite a few repairs on service lines. In the wastewater plant, I'm not gonna go through line item by line item because it's a pretty detailed report. I'll just go to the wastewater collection system. So in the month of April, we televised over 5,000 foot of sewer line, and did smoke testing. We made 8 repairs on, pretty substantial sewer leaks or more or less sewer main collapses. There was one with the water service board directly through a sewer line. And you can see, I got some pictures. That's a water main that was busted that we repaired on Kathy Ridge. Kathy Ridge, and we'll get to that in a little bit in capital improvement projects. Kathy Ridge water line is in rough shape. There's patches all up and down Kathy Ridge. Next one. That was on West Coffee Street. So the mayor called me and Mr. Lonnie Foley one day to meet him, and there was a hole more or less besides the road, and come to find out, I mean, it was a sewer leak. And I think the next picture you can see, we had to go down to the sewer main and reroute the gas service. And there's 3 different pictures, which the locations weren't listed because it was too big, but you can see 3 different places we found televising, clay pipe that's busted apart, and then PVC where it done cracked open. And then there's where I think is a water service going through a clay pipe in front of Westwood Elementary School. We fixed it Sunday. And that's us cleaning up afterwards. And then there's another sewer disconnect that we found with televising and smoke testing. And that's it. I could,
We have sewer at Kathy Ridge?
no, sir.
No, okay.
County.
Did you put that Fernco in, or was that what was leaking?
It had come loose from the Fernco, and we replaced it. So we replaced the pump at West End Circle. And again, went through all the stuff that we replaced and fixed. We'll go to the projects. So, we also raised 8 manholes that have been covered up for a long time off of Old Bushy Branch Road. We were able to identify them, and we sent crews out to raise them, so that way we have access to those manholes now. And there's still quite a few that's covered up, but.
Covered up with what? Dirt?
Asphalt.
Asphalt.
Yes, sir.
I think in the last report, there was 70 in half of the system.
So,
Paved over.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so we're actually, I mean, in between going through, like I said, we televised over 5,000 foot of sewer line in this past month, and we've been going out making repairs and raising manholes. I think, we're trying to make a difference. And also in the rain event that we had at the plant, we noticed that we had less flow coming in. I mean, so that was a good thing.
We're doing something good finally.
Yes, sir. In the sewer collection system projects, the grant projects, so the project that was awarded to the Norris Brothers, they have, this piece of paper is old, I'm sorry. So they have replaced the manhole at Carter Sain's house. They started, they put in a manhole right down from Carter Sain's house and started laying sewer line along the Little Duck River. Then in the project, go ahead.
So in that project there, we've got to fix a couple problems on Sycamore. And we're trying to figure out what's best. We have a couple customers there that it's actually, because of the way that falls off to the water so bad, they have basements, and we've had a couple issues in a couple basements. So we're looking at long-term fixes for them. We're either gonna put in a gravity line that doesn't come out in front of the house, it goes down to the back, or we're gonna put in some grinder pumps, but we're in the process of figuring that out. But we will include this into the project so that, we clean that up for a long time and hopefully.
Sycamore's always been a problem. It was built a problem.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and like I said, those houses.
The
on the other
sewer,
side
sewer
of the
line's
road,
higher than the houses.
It is, and so,
It won't work.
yeah, so, but
Shit won't
There's
run
been
up
several
either.
houses on that street that's overflowed.
what's still happening today is as late as March. So we are, we let the homeowners know that we're committed to a long-term solution.
So, with, the contract that was awarded to Fisher Excavating, I think there's a pre-con meeting on the 12th. Dukes, so they have, they've completed most of their televising and cleaning. There's still a little left. Smoke testing is to begin on Monday. They have started hanging door tags, to residents to let them know ahead of time.
That's Royal Trail area.
So it's actually from Coffee County High School, to Hills Chapel Road. Basically, it's,
Look at my house.
I guess you would consider that the, south, or, excuse me, I'm directionally challenged living here, this ain't West Tennessee. That part of town first, and,
Okay.
Your last page in the package.
And that's about-
Map for you.
That's about a fourth of the town?
yes, sir.
Okay,
Um,
just looking at this map right here, yeah.
So that's where they'll start at.
And Duke is doing that?
Yes, sir, they are. The water billing office had nothing to report, and, I mean, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, we can move on to the business.
I'll go, this probably isn't the right time to tell you. There's 2 leaks on my street that've been there. There was an alley between Garner's and it's been dug up and repaired several times. It's still leaking.
Talking about your business,
Do what?
talking about your business address?
Yes.
Okay.
What's that?
Of McLean Street. Garner's Furniture Store.
It's right
Between
off
there
of the
and
square.
and the buildings up there.
So,
There's this stream coming down, 2 streams coming down that alley.
So, in smoke testing around the court square, I mean, we have found roof drains connected to the sewer system. We've found open lines, a patch in the middle of the road, and we're addressing those issues, now, with the owner, and also we'll be looking at having to dig up some of the street for our end of it as well.
all right.
Talking about digging up the street. One time you talked about you were gonna get with the street department to do asphalt patches.
Yes, sir.
Is that how it's working?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll put rock in, chip and rock, and tamp it down.
But have
and
the street
then-
department
and then
actually-
have a ticket sent to them.
Great.
So that way they can come back and fill it in. So, we can move on to, budget review if you like.
Okay.
So, went over the budget with Mr. Anthony, and, I mean, just the overall, the projections show that we're gonna come in just a little bit under, so we won't be in the red if things continue going as they are. And, if there's anything y'all wanna know about the budget, feel free to ask.
Your proposed budget, are you using the proposed new rates?
Yes, sir, and all of that we'll get into.
Yeah, this is just what he's
This is the
reviewing
old
is your
one.
current, what he's spending.
Jeff, you got, repair and maintenance, other is, 1 million for the current budget. If I'm reading this right, you spent 280 of that? Okay.
So there's quite a few line items that have underruns on it. And the reason why I didn't just say I have all this money, I'm gonna spend it, was to keep from blowing through our budget and having to explain why I need more money.
Looks good.
So, under new business, the crane truck, that's something we had already approved, and, so we don't have to worry about discussing that.
Okay.
And we can move on to brake changes. So, So, if you look at current rates, we know we've been sitting at our current rates for a long time now. We had did an original proposed new rate, and, what we had talked about the last meeting, went through, and there was still a few things that needed to be cleaned up, and that's why I didn't go before BOMA. So, if you go to the column right under the original proposed rates, the 25, the 26, that is the rate, those are the rates that I would say that we need to be at. And there's some reasons, I can wait on the mayor to get back before I get into it all, but, so a minimum bill with 2,000 gallons water rate is $14.99 per 2,000 gallons. Sewer rate is $18.84 per 2,000 gallons, and that's on the inside of town. Outside, $29.98. And I know we had went through and kind of made some changes, but with the formulas and some of the things, it needed to be cleaned up. So, excuse me.
So that first, set of numbers there for 25, 26, 2% increase,
Yes, sir.
that is considerably more than 2%.
Yes, so that's going off, that is a 2% increase off the original proposed new rate. So,
Okay. Okay, I got you now.
because where we were wanting to be at the last meeting was roughly at $15 per 2,000 gallons.
Just
So-
looking at the average rate,
So,
that's a 36%
yes. it's a-
increase
it's a-
over
It's
current
a
rates.
36.65% increase compared, or overall, that's what it is.
That's on the water rates.
That's water and sewer. It's
Water and
across the
sewer
board,
rates.
yes.
Okay, I guess,
So, I mean,
that's pretty substantial.
it is substantial, but, so,
All right, and then are
So-
you gonna request BOMA to go ahead and approve a 2% increase for the outlying years there?
yes, sir.
So it's one,
So it would
Whole package.
increase from 25, 26, or that's the rate that would be set more or less after 2 readings. And then 26, 27, and then 27, 28, you'd have 2 more 2% increases. You have a 2% increase each year. So it's a hard sell, but municipal utilities are required to operate on sound business principles. And we're to be self-sufficient entities, and to ensure that user charges reflect the actual cost of providing services. These rate increases will cover operating, repair, and maintenance expenses, implementing planned gradual rate increases as it should have been can help and would have helped maintain financial stability and prevent large disruptive rate hikes as we're seeing right now. Capital projects and capital expenditures are high, and if we don't go up on the rates, I mean, we're gonna be in trouble. And that's with our budget as well as the capital projects. A list of the capital projects that these rates will help pay for is the headworks and the UV. So we've gotten a cost estimate on the new sewer plant, either oxidation, having a new oxidation ditch or SPR, which right now that's out of the realm, but we can make fixes that lead to that at the beginning, which is getting a new headworks, new UV system. The UV system that we have, again, as I've said before, is more or less designed for a pool. There's one vendor left that supplies the bulbs, and when they go out, we're done for in disinfection. The headworks is in a state of disrepair and is limping along. So just the cost on the headworks and the UV together is $9.5 million. Another project is a transmission line to bypass the old water treatment plant to Batesville. It would eliminate that. That's $3 million. We need flow meters throughout the system to be able to monitor I&I. That's a very expensive project. Upsizing lines from chronic manholes and to chronic manholes. We have to address the chronic manhole issues that include choke points. And that's where our biggest money is going to go, is into fixing our sewer system and or our collection system. We have developments on 41 and 55 where pump stations are at capacity that we have to take a look at. There's a lot of clay sewer lines in our system that have to be replaced because, as you see in the pictures, I mean, clay pipe is very fragile, and we have to get that out of our system.
Are we replacing that as we find it when we have to repair?
So
We don't put clay
we're
back
putting-
in it.
No, sir. No. We're putting sticks
You
of,
can buy clay.
I don't even know if you can still buy it. But another example of with water, I mean, it's Kathy Ridge. I mean, to be honest, it's patched so bad that we need to be running new water lines down Kathy Ridge.
How come?
It's just the rocks and stuff that's in the soil.
I know soil moves, the ground moves.
Yes, sir.
Just punching
Well,
holes.
a lot of times when we've had water leaks, there's rocks and stuff where you can tell they've done knocked holes in the water line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the list it's a pretty exhaustive list of things that needs to be fixed throughout the city of Manchester, and that's not to include, I mean, the equipment and the things that we need. So the justification of rate changes is there. And, I mean, I know it's gonna hurt at once, and, I mean, we can't continue at the rate we're going with the rates that we have. I mean, it's impossible.
Okay. Do you know, when was the last time we raised rates?
So I have a list of it actually.
It
Give
wasn't
me
much
just one
last
second.
time we raised it.
No.
It was very small.
Absolutely correct on
I think
the
we did a.
requirements.
We
So
did
I
a
know
pass
it
through
was
when Duck River.
2023, the last one was 2023. I think there was one in 2022, then 2014, and then I want to say 2001 is the last ones that I've seen. That's off the top of my head.
Well, you went over kind of what we need the money for, I guess. But are we making the water pay for the sewer system?
So
No,
No, sir. I mean, you know, the sewer rates are meant to pay for the sewer.
does it,
But I mean,
does it?
Well, and just on the water side, to help Jeff out just a little, right, I mean, we're gonna have to put up another tank on the other side.
I understand that, but
But that's-
are we
that's-
raising water rates to pay for the sewer system?
No, we're raising the water rates to pay for new water infrastructure, which is another $3 or $4 million
So-
tower on this end of town.
Right.
Yes,
and
sir.
also, I mean, water valves throughout the distribution system. I mean, our guys are having to cut off 10 to 15 water valves to kill, and it's not even killing the water when we have a busted water main. So one of the projects, I can go through many projects. We have to install valves in critical places to where we can isolate the water system. It's an exhaustive list of things that we have to have done.
But I mean, and I think neither list is actually any bigger than the other, right?
Well,
mean, it's- and that-
I get it.
Yeah,
That's-
so,
That was my question.
yeah. Well, I mean, and look, just so that we've been in a whole lot worse shape had there not been ARP funds come out 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, you're talking that current projects and stuff we have going on today is probably close to $5 million or $6 million that, you know, we're not increasing rates to pay for, which is good.
Right.
Helps us get that much farther, but we do have a big list of things that if we want to stop having overflows and different things that we're just gonna have to do.
It's just a curious point,
Yep.
that it affects what our rates should be. How does that compare to Tullahoma,
I mean,
the water?
you know.
I mean,
you-
I assume we're paying the same per gallon rate as Tullahoma.
We are.
On Duck River,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I mean.
It all comes from the same source, and we're paying the same rates that they are.
Right.
I mean, our rates are different than theirs, and I don't want to sit here and compare apples to oranges.
no, I'm just-
And, I mean, this isn't about Tullahoma, this is about.
I
the city of
understand that. I
Manchester.
said a curious point. I didn't say that you.
I will say this, Jeff, 2023, we did have a rate increase, but it was simply to take into account what Duck River Utility had increased, because their rates had to increase because tremendous increases in chemical costs that they were paying, plus a heck of an increase in power costs and TVA electricity costs. So they had to pass that on to Tullahoma and Manchester, and we did make that adjustment here. But that's all. We didn't get any more money out of it to take care of inflation for all the services that we provide. That wasn't part of that increase. Now, those back before then, I can't speak to.
Well, in order to fund these capital improvement projects, we have to raise our rates.
Yes.
And, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. And there's so many things that can be said as to why these rates have to be raised. But, I mean, the meat and potatoes of it is the most important aspect of it is that we have to fix the issues that we have. We have to provide clean drinking, I mean, not that we're treating drinking water. I know a lot of people probably that live here, some people are under the assumption that we treat the drinking water, and we don't. But we have to keep the water moving in a clean, safe condition to the customer, as well as.
To keep it potable.
Yes, as well as make sure that we are taking care of our sewer issues.
I've asked
And-
people who claim to have bad water, who say they have bad water, maybe they got bad water. I said, get your water tested at Duck River. If you're on the end of a pipe and that water don't ever move, yeah, it could get stale.
Yes, sir.
And, they need to talk to us about that. They need to talk to the water
So
department.
that's one thing, we have an end-of-line flushing
Yeah.
program that we do, and you have to maintain a certain chlorine residual at the end of the lines for disinfection.
Right.
And if somebody has any kind of complaints, I mean, feel free to call, and, you know, we will come out and
See where
take a
you're at.
look at it.
And I mean, and to add just a little bit more, we're not just asking the customer to help us fix everything, right? As a city, we've got some debt that's gonna clear off of the water and sewer side over the next couple of years. We're putting together a 5-year strategy to where we actually probably borrow some more money, but it doesn't change our payment on the current debt service that we have, so that, you know, we can do quite a bit of upgrades quicker than the rates would let us do. So we are putting that strategy together. We hope to have it to you guys in July or August. You know, we have a financial guy who helps the city, and he's looking into some of that as to how we structure that debt through this group, right? But we go ahead and get, you know, $10 or $15 million that the city goes ahead and puts into the system along with these rate increases, so that, because each one of these projects are extremely expensive, and it doesn't seem to go as far as we'd like for it to, but we are going to look at asking you guys about some new debt as the old debt pays off, but we keep the same, you know, payment.
Okay.
Ask one more question. Are our industries paying their fair share?
So, I mean, the increase will also include, I mean, everything. It encompasses industries, Hillsville. So, I mean, this rate increase is across the board to everybody that's being serviced water and sewer through the
Well,
city.
I mean, with an industry, our cost compared to a homeowner versus industry, I'm saying, is it fair?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not saying to pass it on to industry, I'm just making sure that the citizens aren't.
Yes, sir.
Aren't.
Bearing the brunt of it.
Or
They're not.
exactly, they're not subsidizing industry.
I mean, you can kind of look, so at the bottom of the page, you can see the difference in one of our biggest water users. I mean,
Right.
you can see what the difference
Yeah.
is.
I
And I'm
understand.
sure a homeowner would not want to incur that kind of difference. So, again, I believe that even though the initial percentage is what it is, I mean, I believe that, you know, comparatively, this is a fair, even though it may come off otherwise, I mean, I believe it to be a fair rate increase, and it's something that we need desperately. And the projects are there to warrant this, and, I mean, the state of our utility infrastructure wants it.
Well, you see on the news all the time, there are lots of utility systems around the country that their water system's in terrible
Yes, sir.
shape.
Well,
And that's probably because they've not spent the money when they need to all
you
along.
look at Jackson, Mississippi, I mean, there's a lot of instances to where, I mean, and I'm not saying it's because of their rates as to why things happened the way they did, but, you know, the one thing about it, if we don't fix the rates and we go into, and we go into the red, the state's gonna step in,
Oh, no,
and they're gonna set the rates at what, they don't care
How much it hurts.
how much it hurts.
No, you're
And-
required, we're required
sir.
to charge what it takes to operate the system.
I have looked at rates around the state, and
I have too.
they're all over the place. There's people that's not collecting
You
it.
can look at West.
It's really high in
You
some
can look at
places.
West Warren
Yeah.
and Tullahoma and see a huge difference. You can look at us in West Tennessee and there's a huge difference.
But that's not the point. Point is, we need this increase
Yes, sir.
to run the services that we want to
Now,
provide.
the only point between the discrepancy between systems is how well it's managed
How
and
well they
operated.
do. Yep.
But you hadn't been here long enough to blame anything on
Right.
it. I'm trying to pay it off.
Tullahoma runs their system well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure they do.
I know, but, I think they did too.
All right. Jeff, I assume you need a motion
Yes, sir.
to approve this to go to Board of Mayor and Alderman.
I'll make a motion.
We approve-
We approve the residential and commercial rate increases.
Is there a second? Alderman Anderson seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, capacity fees, Jeff?
Sir, so if you look at the water and sewer tap rates, on the bottom of both columns is sewer capacity fees. And you can see the formula that's involved in that. I contacted MTS. I've actually contacted quite a few people, about doing, or first about gathering data and information. I've pulled capacity fees all over the state and they're all over the place. There's some places that we line up with, there's some places that are higher. I think it's in my best, not my best interest, but the city of Manchester's best interest. I've got a few numbers of firms to call to have a comprehensive study done on capacity fees. And, I mean, we can continue charging the capacity fees that we're charging now. But moving forward, if good, bad, or indifferent, if they keep it the same or up it, I would like to have a study done on the capacity fees just for future growth and, so that way contractors are paying their fair share when it comes to getting services here.
How long will it take to get the study done?
So I'm still waiting. I've reached out to 3 different people and I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I don't know the answer to that yet. But I think it would behoove us as a city just to have that looked at. And I don't know if that's something you have to vote on, but,
So this bottom half is kind of a ballpark estimate of what you think you'll end up with.
so the top part, which I put tap fees on it, we've been going through tap fees as well. And the increase on tap fees, which of course, labor and equipment, the fees for that is going before BOMA this next month. Tap fees, I'm just going across the board on everything that we have. The bottom half, top half is currently where we're at. The bottom half was an initial ballpark of where I think we need to be.
Do you want to propose that now, or do you want to wait till you get
I
the
just
study?
wanted to present it so you could
Okay.
see the comparison.
Okay.
By the next Water and Sewer Commission meeting, it could be this, it might be a little higher.
All right.
I think that several citizens that reached out to me that were unhappy about the proposed increases in the water and sewer rates, they relayed that it was important to them to make sure the developers and the new customers were paying their fair share because they felt like maybe these things were related. Maybe their water and sewer rates were increasing to pay for the new customers. So I'm glad that we're doing this and making sure that we're raising it to the extent that it needs to be raised, because I want those people to know we're doing what we have to do, not anything more, and the costs are falling where they should fall.
Mayor, has the city thought about impact fees?
We have a $2 a square foot residential impact fee in place that started July of '24.
Okay.
80% of that goes to school funds and 20% to infrastructure.
Good.
And I think in the new budget that's gonna be discussed later tonight, the 20% impact fee was like $270,000. So, yeah, and we're doing it for, I think it's 95 cents for industrial development as well.
Well, I think Alderman Anderson's got it right, that, you know, you got citizens lived here their whole lives, pay taxes, whole life, and they don't feel like they want to pay for the new people moving in.
I think a lot of times the citizens, they don't realize, so if a developer comes in and puts in 200 townhomes, the developer puts in all the infrastructure.
Right.
They do all that, and then that's donated back. And I think they don't, some people don't realize that.
Yeah, we're not spending.
The city does not bear the brunt of that.
No, but the city bears the brunt of schools.
Oh, yes,
And I
yes.
mean, that sort of, you know.
New water towers and things.
Water
Yeah,
towers and stuff
yeah,
like that,
things
right.
like that.
And that's what, big ticket items like that.
Right.
Well, that's just gonna be part of your growth engine, right? I mean, as Mr. Watson said, right, I mean, you gain assets every new subdivision that goes into the ground, which then you bear the fruit for a period of time before you have to start maintaining them. So there's not really a cost. But listen, the fees and the things that Jeff is reviewing, we're doing this in Public Works and everywhere else because we are behind the times to where it's as simple as a tile being put in on the new residential home. The citizens were actually probably giving a little money toward it in the old fee structure because we just hasn't raised rates and fees and all those things across the city. So yeah.
I get that with this, but when you get a new development, as the population increases, that means more firemen, that means more policemen, more infrastructure.
Yep.
And, you know, and you get, I realize we're collecting more property taxes, but is that enough? You know, I mean, you gotta amortize that out.
Yeah, and last year in the budget that we passed as BOMA last year, right, we addressed employee infrastructure. We hired 13 new people throughout the city. So we're keeping up on manpower and equipment infrastructure. We just haven't been keeping up on rates and fees to where the citizen isn't paying for part of it. So both comments are spot on. And
Well, I mean, I remember the police department owned 2 cars and had 6 officers.
well, I can tell you, and we just bought 6 more at Tuesday night's BOMA for a total of 17 new police patrol cars in a 3-year period. So Jeff's got some new vehicles, I mean, we truly are trying to address the infrastructure now.
I mean, and the fire department was volunteer up until 60s, the late 60s.
And some of, going through other cities, things that they have fees for, I found that there's a lot of cities that charge fees for site plan reviews. I mean, that's both in codes and in the water and sewer department, things that, you know, we could look at charging, final plat reviews, stuff like that. And I mean, and that's not, it's just another possibility of an avenue of getting money into our coffers, I guess.
We can leave some of that to some other committee.
Yeah, it's not our.
We don't want
I'm
to
speaking more as a citizen.
we don't want to step on somebody else's toes, but I hear what you're saying, Jeff. You're right. All right, you got,
So,
flow monitor?
yes, sir. So, originally, Dukes had presented, we had talked about flow metering throughout our system in the basin. And, after talking through, the Dukes flow monitoring of the lift stations, I think there's 25 lift stations total, if I'm not mistaken, that they were wanting to put flow monitors on. It's not a true representation of our collection system in having those flow monitors there. The way that I think is best, you have to have a flow monitor. It's 14 basins in our collection system. You need to have a monitoring the flow coming in and out. And I think in 2 or 3 different basins, there's quite a few in and out points. So the way that that was sold, it sounded good at first, and I just, so you can mark that one off. I think that we'll look at different avenues of flow metering, in our collection system.
Well, we did a flow study.
Yes, sir.
Right.
That's before my time, but, it's something that needs to be said. We have to have flow monitoring for at least a couple of years to be able to tell how much I&I is being removed as we do these repairs. And that'll help with the self-imposed moratorium. It'll help, with the state. We'll be able to present to the state, you know, we had this much rainfall last year, we had this much flow coming in, we made these repairs as we were able to find them in this basin and this basin, and this is how many gallons of I&I we have removed. And that's something that's imperative that we have.
You gotta have some concrete figures.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that all you got?
That is all I got.
All right. Any commissioners got comments? No?
What you,
I do have a couple.
I'd like to say, good job on West End Circle, because I've been out there with the old pump station overflowing. That's been going on for years, and I'm sure those people on that little cul-de-sac are glad that you guys have finally fixed
so
it.
one of the pumps that was in there had a drive shaft of a vehicle on it. I mean, it was a mess. And,
Then patch.
yes, sir.
Do what you gotta do.
And
I
that's
have-
right at Old Stone Fort, so it's good that's been addressed.
I have a question for Alderman and Mayor. If y'all have heard from the city attorney regarding how many people should serve on this board. I sent him a letter. I have not heard back. The ordinance says 7. State says 5. We've had 5 for a long time. He says we're grandfathered. Well, okay. We still either need to follow the ordinance or change it. We either need to have 7 on this board, or we need to change it to say 5. Even though we're grandfathered to say, well, we could have 7, 5, or 1. I don't think we ought to have 1. I think we ought to have whatever the ordinance says, and I would like to see it changed to 5. We've been running with 5, and the Board of Mayor and Alderman has not shown any interest in increasing that 5. And I'm more than happy with 5.
It used to be 5.
It used to
and
be
Lonnie
Went
got
to
it
7.
bumped up to 7.
Yeah.
And then the couple commissioners that he wanted on there didn't come to the meetings.
yeah.
So we're 5 is where we're at. Yeah.
I mean, my take is I think you guys should make a recommendation. I'll change ordinance if that's what you'd like, and we'll do it in June, and we'll be at 5.
That's what I've been probably
I'd like.
5.
No, that's fine. He emailed me about it, and I thought.
Yeah,
it
you
was
read
fine.
it you read it
Well,
last
he
month.
sent something else, and he said, Alderman Anderson, would you like me to prepare an amendment to our code that sets the number of Water and Sewer Board Commission at 5 members, or do you want to keep it at 7? I asked because of Michael Anderson's email requesting the same. And I said, I believe the consensus of the commission was to keep our membership at the current number. Is a resolution needed to make that official? So that's where this is. Maybe it just didn't make the cutoff for the last meeting.
Let's go
But he's
for it.
working on it.
I think you guys need to vote if you want 5, and we'll change the ordinance. is
Are
what
we
I'm-
okay with doing that today?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
You make a motion that we amend the ordinance to 5.
5 members.
Is there a second? There's a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none? All in favor say amen. Amen.
We'll get that on, starting in June.
It's a minor point, but
Well, I mean, I think it's a.
some
good
folks do
clarify.
read the stuff online, as you well know. And, I read that, I'm going, wait a minute, we've had 5 for years. And I do remember it did say 5 at one time.
So the last part of business that we need to do today, is the budget.
Proposed budget.
Proposed budget.
Let's look at that real quick.
Let's look through it, and, Jeff, you want to explain it, if you want, what your
So-
wish is?
Yes. So the revenues, because of the rate increase, it goes from $8.8 million, just say $8.9 million to $11.9 million. So that's roughly a $3 million increase. Or excuse me, that APIA, I was looking at 23, 24, but it's still right at a $3 million increase. So we had $1 million line item that was put in for the plant. That was a one-time fee or one-time line item. It is taken out. But the increases have been made, so if you look at 269.1 on page 42, and 269.1, it was 269.1 and 269.2, repair and maintenance on water lines. So those things, those line items, we made adjustments to those, trying to get our bottom number to where we're not overshooting. I think originally we were gonna be over a good bit, so we started coming down on some of our items.
Well, I mean, how close to, I know repair, you never know exactly, but you think that's enough? You think that's a realistic number in the budget?
Well, considering what we spent this past year, I mean, we more or less kind of just went off what we had spent this past year. And, again, you're gonna have overruns and
Oh, yeah, I
underruns
know.
on different line items, so those can be adjusted.
Tornado, flood,
Yes, sir.
terrorist, I understand terrorist.
So that's all repair maintenance.
Page 45, 943, capital projects, that's a good bit of your ARP money, 3.7, that's the Dukes and the Norris Brothers project. That's a big item, and it's captured down at the bottom. We bring it back in from, I think we had $4-point-something million in that fund to work with. Part of one of them that we're doing now, the ARC, and which one was that? What is that one, Adam? That was the,
ARC grant project.
Yeah.
Is the one that goes from Willis Farms to Skinner Flat.
that's the one we're working on now. It has $1 million match from us. We'll have about $700,000 or so left from our ARP money, so our part's gonna be about $300,000 versus the $1 million. When you get to the bottom type of numbers here, we're still running a deficit with everything that we're trying to get accomplished of a couple $1 million. I mean, your total expenses is right at $15 million on a $12 million budget. So you have the money in reserves. It looks like if everything goes according to what we have in here, we'll have about $2 million to start the next budget cycle.
Well, you're running that like on a cash basis. The capital projects would be handled through depreciation, they wouldn't be an expense.
Yeah, but yes, yeah, I'm not putting those in there, but the capital projects, I mean, you have to pay for them and we have to show
Yeah,
where they came from, so they're,
Is there,
but some of them that are matches is where I think we haven't been capturing, our part in previous budgets.
This proposed budget, it assumes that the rate increases that you propose
Yes.
will be in effect by July the 1st or before.
So I think it was aimed for August.
Yeah. It'll take us to, June and July if the BOMA.
to pass it.
To pass it, and it would go in effect, so we would lose 1 month of the 12.
Is the whole 12 months in here,
Or 11 months?
I think it's.
or 11
I think
months?
it's 11 months.
11 months is in here, okay.
Anthony, when we had talked, he had took into effect the
how long it would take
Yeah.
to get it passed, because they have to have 3 readings, right?
Two.
For, 2 readings?
Two, yeah, we didn't do it in May because, we pulled it.
Right. Right.
Can you have a special call meeting to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna
I
have two
just
special
asked.
call meetings for the budget, and we may put it on one of them.
Y'all ain't had good success with these special call meetings, so.
Hopefully it's all behind us. We'll see, right?
I hope so.
Well, I think that's kind of the highlights. We've got some monies put in there for some, equipment for these guys. There's some money for some building projects for them. And as I said, right, I mean, we're gonna look at a long-term plan, that we won't have to pull so much out of his day-to-day monies to do if we can accomplish some of those long-term plans.
One of the things, next meeting, I talked to the mayor about it, the chronic manhole issues. I'm glad you brought that up. So, we're gonna look at all the chronic manholes and come up with more or less a 5-year plan in fixing the lines going to and from the chronic manholes. And, try to come up with the best cost estimate. I mean, if it's getting with Adam and coming up with what it might cost now, you know, which you have to take into consideration inflation in 3 years, but, you know, we're gonna be looking and presenting, bringing to y'all just the plan on what we have moving forward and fixing our lines going to and from chronic manholes. And that'll also include, once we have more comprehensive data on subdivisions going into places, that include pumping stations, you know, water towers where they may be needed, which I know we're getting 1, possibly 2. And, I mean, also need to include a 5-year plan on replacing equipment, and, which we have vehicles going on Gov Deals, in the next couple of weeks. Vehicles, equipment, things that's been at our shop for 20 years that we're getting rid of to help offset some of the cost of buying a new truck or things that we may need. It's time to start pushing out some of the old stuff and as far as the plant, I mean, the plant upgrade, I mean, starting out, I mean, I think starting, even though we can't afford the $40 million to have a state-of-the-art SBR plant at the moment, I mean, with the capital projects, with the rate increases, it'll help pay for, like I said earlier, getting a new headworks and the UV, and that's the 2 main things that we need at our plant at the moment. That's the 2 most important things that we need at our plant.
Jeff, you remember that the mayor pointed out that we don't have a capacity problem per se at the water treatment plant. We have, too much inflow at heavy rain times. That's when we have our problems. We'll have our problems in dry weather. Even though we could have inflow, it's not enough to cause a problem. You said something earlier that really piqued my interest. We got businesses in town that had stormwater, runoff water, roof water, going directly in the sewer. And as much publicity has been given to sewer overflows, you think that they would have already been aware of it, trying to correct it, redirect it, whatever.
What we're doing moving forward, and I mean, if it entails getting Attorney Johnson involved, is you're gonna be issued a letter, and you have X amount of days to get it fixed or unhooked from your sewer system, or we're gonna cut your water off and pull your water meter. And, I mean, even still, you're gonna get rain from it, but you will no longer be provided utility services until you get it fixed.
That must've been a practice, 20 or 30 years.
I'm wondering,
ago.
was it?
It probably was in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
You
saying,
think
right?
so?
It's a
Just
way
dump it in the
Yeah,
sewer
there's a
line.
lot of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
That could be.
Was it easier to do that than it was to
Tile
tile
it
it, put
up,
storm,
yeah.
storm runoff, yeah.
Because I think that's what we're seeing in a lot of this, right? It's in the downtown area, it's in the older sections, to where they probably would have done that in the forties and fifties,
Okay.
right? So,
You know, their thought process was probably do that, and it'll help push everything down to the.
Exactly. Cleans it-
That
Might
cleans the
have
water.
been-
that was their
Might
thought
have been-
process, I'm sure.
Might have been helpful,
yeah,
huh?
I mean, that's,
All right, anybody else have anything? Chair will entertain a motion to,
you're gonna, can I get you guys to vote on a proposed budget, or you?
We didn't
yes,
vote on
I'm
it.
sorry, we don't,
Just so
yes,
we can pass it on if you guys are happy.
we can recommend that. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve the proposed budget for the water and sewer. That's all that's covered, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just you guys.
All right.
All Jeff's idea.
Any, yeah. Any other discussion on the budget? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Go. Thanks, Mayor.